Well, while the looting, the violence is aimed at a lot of big companies, smaller black-owned businesses have been affected as well. And when food insecurity bites, as always, it will be the poor that are most affected. A student leader says government must move from podium rhetoric to visible programs to tackle poverty. Bongani Mahlangu is a Ph.D. economics candidate at Wits and a member of the National Executive of the South African Union of Students. To discuss his Daily Maverick opinion piece, he joins us now. Thank you so much. You've outlined what government, I think, has acknowledged for years, that the South African economy is marked by high levels of debt, unemployment, inequality and poverty. But I do like the way you've collated the numbers to give a picture of the average poor household. Can you do that for us? What do the numbers say about an average household at the moment?
Thank you guys for inviting me, and also I would like to extend greetings to your viewers. So basically, when we speak about the average household, we have to start with household income. As you have outlined, the three evils, which is poverty, unemployment, and inequality. But then how do they trickle down to the household income? So we see that the household income, especially in your working class households, where you find that there's only probably one person working who's supporting at least four people, and those are the stats. But then at times it becomes even more than that. So you'll find that the household income there is depressed by debt. So you find that the income, what the person gets from 1 month, does not necessarily assist the person to reach the next month. So then it gets dried up probably mid-month, and then they have to supplement that income with debt. And the debt usually is not good debt, but bad debt, because there's no monetary returns on that debt. And then number two, you find that the same income now is being frustrated by inflation. So you would know that between last year and now, people have not received annual increments with regards to their income. Some have reduced hours, which leads to reduced income. Whereas the headline CPI, which is the cost of goods and services, has went up 5.2%, which is a 30-month high. So meaning your expenses or your expenditure has to increase, your expenses have to increase, but then your income is going in the opposite direction, which makes it even more difficult. And then you go to unemployment. The more there is unemployment in the economy, that means the few that are employed have to then carry the unemployed. As I said earlier, you'll find that one income takes care of four people. So if that one person then loses their job as well, that means they will have to rely on someone else, and then that someone else has to take on the five people or the four people plus the people that they would be taking care of. Then the numbers become high, and there's more pressure on that household income for that person. And also, for this group, which is the working class, is that usually they are low-skilled workers or no-skilled workers. So it becomes very difficult for them to bargain for an increase when it comes to their employment. So because their employer can easily replace them with someone that would take on the same responsibilities for the same income, with someone that would take on the same responsibilities at even a reduced income. And we have seen this, and I'm not trying to be xenophobic, but we have seen this mainly in the restaurant sector, whereas you find that cheap labor is being sourced from Zimbabwe because they can take on more responsibilities for a lower income. So then you can be easily replaced. And the last one, because there are many variables you can use to analyze this, but the last one, you have then your savings. So you find that these households do not have savings because they live from hand to mouth. They do not generate a surplus of which they can put away to become a buffer or a fiscal buffer. So in times like rainy days, like what is happening currently in the economy, let's say 5.2% CPI, and you can tap into your savings to supplement the increase in goods and services. They do not have such buffers, so they live from hand to mouth, and then it puts more pressure on them.
Yeah, so thank you. That is a great outline, and I guess it shows what we always say: the poor are most affected. Prices are going up, and the poor spend the vast majority of their incomes on food. So global food prices are going up, and now we have looting in South Africa that is going to perhaps push up some goods. You say the government is delaying its promise of economic recovery, and that's letting this situation linger. Does that mean that you think that government could do something that it's not doing? This sounds like a specific word. They're delaying.
Yeah, so probably, government, what we have seen from them is podium rhetorics. I mean, they even developed a document of economic recovery and reconstruction. And from that document, there were 5 broad themes, which are in fact four broad themes, which is investment in infrastructure, energy generation, employment, reindustrialization of the economy. The government has went on and mobilized what they say they mobilized 500 billion rand. So that shows that government has the ability when it comes to capital mobilization. But then government does not then have the incentive to decisively deal with these things. Hence, when this document was drafted and the podium rhetorics that we have experienced, there's been a huge lag. And because of that lag in implementation, the frustrations of people are going up because things such as CPI is going up, things such as unemployment is going up, which frustrates and puts, as I said, on more pressure on the household income. So now, until the government actually implements all these positions or policy positions that it takes place, we will never know what can be done with regards to regressing or addressing unemployment. So some of the things that we would, and also there's this thing of miscommunication from government. For instance, government has this document now, but then the same government takes away 250 billion rands from its baseline, which is the government budget, which is the budget for the year. It takes away 250 billion rand in fiscal consolidation, but the government is also saying that it wants growth. So now what we are seeing then is a pro-growth fiscal consolidation strategy, which goes against economic logic. That's the same government, and it leads to incentive. So they have the ability, they don't have the incentive. Right. 2 is that government does not have capacity. I mean, if you look at some of the ministers and what government seeks to achieve, there is no way those people can implement such a program. They are not fit for purpose. 3 is that you have corruption as well. I mean, the same government that took away...
Mr. Mahlangu, I'm sorry I have to cut you there. I think you've outlined some of your issues. I hope we can chat again in future. That was student leader and economics Ph.D. candidate Bongani Mahlangu.